if I could do that, if I could contribute to someone else's success, why can't I do that for myself? I want to have a say of what time I want to wake up. I don't want to attend a meeting at 10 a.m. I want to have a say on when I can go to leave. I don't want to have to beg and ask and say someone died or something just to have a bereavement leave. Like that's crazy.
Everyone, welcome back to the Ordinary Podcast ODD, where we interview everyday people who have done extraordinary things. And today we have Natalie Grace on the podcast.
Hello.
She's the founder of Bubbles Media Digital Agency. She's a content creator and also a digital nomad. So if you actually gone on her Instagram socials, you see she has been traveling across the world for the past whole year. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Just before we start, as freelancers, we always get asked this question: what do you actually do?
That's a good question. I would say I run a digital marketing agency for Web3 companies and crypto companies. I handle their social media.
That's where the money's at right now.
Yes, right? It is.
how do you see like Web3 going, let's say, in the field? Is this one field that you really want to go in, or is there like a high barrier of entry? What's the scene like?
Currently, kind of slow, not gonna lie, but as with like the entire market with this economy. But definitely in the future, it might pump up back again. In terms of like, do I see myself in the future? I definitely love the technology that it offers. I think that's something interesting. It's kind of like the same when the internet was born, where people thought it was a scam and people didn't really want to jump into it. But yeah, the early pioneers are the people who reaped the benefits in the long run. Yes.
Okay, so this is the Ordinary Podcast. So what's the one thing you did differently? Can be any part of your life that actually landed you at where you are today.
I would say diving headfirst into the uncomfortable aspects in life. That would be moving out, starting my own business, leaving my 9 to 5. All those things are actions that compounded to be who I am today.
And you said actually 9 to 5. You worked as a 9 to 5 before you experienced it.
Yes.
What was the breaking point that say, hey, this is it for me. I'm out. Fuck this shit.
Well, I was a customer service agent, so you could tell that it's already a very taxing job.
Yeah.
The turning point for me would be when my manager actually personally said in front of like everyone that I was not doing enough work. And that was the point in time where I was overtiming literally every day, even on weekends and on public holidays. And I was not paid enough for that. I would just like to add.
Just like every one of us working 9 to 5.
Yeah, so that was like the turning point that I realized that no matter how much effort that you put into a job, if it's just bad and poor management, you're just not gonna get recognized. And why would you even want to be recognized for, slaving away your time either way? And within that day, the next day itself, I attended my notice period. I had no jobs lined up. I don't know what's next to expect. And over the course of 2 weeks, I was taking my lunch break at home, not really eating, but going interviews after interviews. I had 3 interviews in a day, all for a bunch of like random jobs, just to find which one hits, because I just couldn't stay in that job anymore.
But I think this is actually something that a lot of people are actually going through right now.
Yeah.
What was your feelings? I know your emotions that if you're okay to share with others, and how did you come out of that space? And a lot of people say, I have no option, I have no other choice. This is the only thing I can do. Or what do you say to that?
Well, for one,
let's start with the emotions first. I think that's very, very important.
It was stressful, and I can only imagine how it feels to not have any choices in life. I think that's very saddening. For me, I was thinking more in terms of like long term. If I'm going to stay here in this toxic 9 to 5, I'm just gonna continue not having options. I mean, assuming like the options that you don't have is in terms of financial terms, right? You're already underpaid. Like it's just gonna continue being that way with like 5% increment that doesn't even takes into account inflation. So you have to make your options. Find a way to squeeze the options. And that's just the harsh truth in life. If you don't make it happen for yourself, it's just never going to happen.
Right. I mean, how do you get, like, any tips to get the new job? I think you got it pretty quick,
within
right?
2 weeks.
Yeah, within 2 weeks. So is there any way that you went, or, you know, any things that you can
I get
share
a
with
lot of
others?
questions from my colleagues in the past.
That was pretty fast. 2 weeks is...
Yeah. I think, okay, I'm going to get canceled. I think people just don't put in enough effort into applying job. And I have facts to like cover
She
this.
brought receipts.
Yes. Like I have like sort of mentored like my siblings, my friends, and strangers online that approach me in terms of how to negotiate for salary, how to get a new job, and all these things. They apply 10 job application, LinkedIn easy apply, where you don't even have to put in your details and be like, yep, I did that. I received no form of answers. They don't follow up. They don't add any value in their application. I sent in my portfolios. I crafted a marketing strategy for companies where they don't even ask me to. I went through tedious case studies that takes weeks of research just to get rejected for 200 times because I made more than 1,000 applications within 2 weeks, got rejected for 200 times, and the rest was pretty positive response, and I went through the funnel.
So at the end, you get to pick.
Yeah, at the end, I do get to pick.
I kind of like this company.
Yes.
But how do you end up with the next company? What was the criteria that
I had no criteria.
said, pay me well, treat me well?
Exactly. I mean, when you're desperate, you kind of cling on to whatever you have. So it was a risk, and I think I was lucky there, to be honest. Yeah.
But I think since then, so you actually applied for another 9-to-5 job from then, and how do you come out of? So that was actually a good experience for you.
Yes.
You mentioned before, but you are now on your own. You're a founder. So where did that next step come in? What happened?
It was the company that I was in was I want to emphasize that it was the perfect job. I think if I were to work 9 to 5 for the rest of my life, I would definitely like be there for the next 10 years if I'm allowed to. I realized that even though it was the perfect job, I started to kind of dislike it. And it's not about the managers. It's just the fact that it's a job.
It's repetitive, right?
It's not only repetitive, it's that you have no power. You are literally
no control.
Yeah, you have no control. You're making someone else's dreams come true. You're making someone else's rich, someone else's business. And I realized that if I could do that, if I could contribute to someone else's success, why can't I do that for myself? I want to have a say of what time I want to wake up. I don't want to attend a meeting at 10 a.m. I want to have a say on when I can go to leave. I don't want to have to beg and ask and say someone died or something just to have a bereavement leave. Like that's crazy. It's just having control and freedom over my life, and that's what I want.
I want to do a podcast at 1 o'clock on a Monday, looking
Yes.
at the Twin Towers and,
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the
Yes.
freedom that is usually that. But okay, one thing that actually we agree on a lot of things actually conceptually,
Yes.
but there's one thing we actually don't agree on, which is education. We agree that education is necessary, but the means to it is different.
Yes.
What I see is regarding degree, I think this is quite a heated topic also. For me, degree is, you need a degree, but it's not very important.
Okay.
Because don't confuse degree with education. That's very important. Degree is, for me, is like a passport. It gets you indoors, and that's it, all right? Why I went to university, why I got my degree is, one, I want that passport, that certificate, that piece of worthless paper. And two, the best part about university is actually the relationships you make and the networking you make there. All right, so when you come out to work, you want to know that there are people that you can ask for favors, you can call on, you can collaborate with. Most of the relationships are formed when you're studying. And that's my point of view. Natalie, on the other hand, has a very different point of view of how you should go about it.
Yes. So let's just scratch off all the obvious things that does need professional qualification, doctors, lawyers, all these things. To me, degree is just one means for education. And the bottom line is, what do you actually want? Like, what do you want? Not what your parents want, not what your, extended family wants for you. My pain point in this is that a lot of my friends or a lot of my inner circles proceed to have like all of these degrees. It's because of their parents' generation's belief that this is the right path to life. But at the end of the day, there's no Bible or guideline to life. It's just how you live it. And if you're getting a degree for a ticket to a job, for me, that does not make any sense because a job can be earned through many ways. It could be through networking, which you said that you find going to university helps. I find LinkedIn does the same way to me.
Okay.
And I would add on that LinkedIn is better or online is better because I managed to make connections not only within Malaysia, but the world. And so a lot of these people that go and have a degree, it's because their parents told them so. And in our parents' generation, they have limited access to the pool of jobs. And my mom didn't even use a computer until she was like 30 years old.
Right.
So you can imagine how job applications back then was. It was through word of mouth. And, hey, my aunt has like a degree in this and she worked in this and that. But these days, it's about show your results. What can you bring of value towards the company?
Okay.
And yeah, that's how I see things.
But I would need to emphasize that both of us are now in a freelance/agency. We run our own business kind of.
Yeah.
But if you're in a 9 to 5, a lot of these corporates are still very traditional.
Yes.
They still require you to hand in your CV. They want to see what's your highest qualification, and they use that to filter out applicants. So definitely what you say works. Results, you show your results matter. But a lot of us, I would say, don't have the results at the start.
Okay.
So how do you, I think you also came from that part. How do you navigate that when you said you've done case studies and stuff?
Yeah. Personally, I've never had a company that asked me what sort of educational qualifications that I have. And even if they do, I would honestly say I'm a self-learner. And I would give all the credentials that I've done online, like Facebook, Meta Business Suite, studies, and all those stuff, Google Analytics, courses that are available online that does the same thing for the job, right? Yeah, that's how I would like navigate it.
So I'll put it this way. It's not that the degree doesn't matter, but your credentials matter.
Yes.
So it's not necessary you say, I have to graduate from where as a degree, but you got to show, hey, these are things that I have studied and people certify that I am capable in that.
Yes. More importantly is how you carry yourself. When companies hire people, hire talent, they look at like the risk, right, of hiring this talent, if this talent's going to perform or if it's just going to be 3 months probation money go down the drain. A degree kind of like helps you in terms of, hey, I have this theoretical knowledge. I may be able to do the job better than the next guy. But what if you come into the scene saying, hey, I have done this sort of practical things that you've done in the job, that you want in this job. I would go with the practical guy over the theoretical
Yeah, actually,
guy.
that's true. I would do the same too. I think there's this one funny reel that I saw, which kind of is true, talking about degrees, is, so degree is just a proof to the employer that you can stay at something for 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, maybe.
So everything else doesn't matter because they don't want to, like, someone who comes in 6 months and then they leave, you got to train again. So it's like, 4 years, you've done something, you stick through it, I'm going to hire you. But yeah, on the other note. So I don't think so there's a right or wrong to this. It's just where you are in your life, what you want with your life.
Exactly, yes.
And also, if you're comfortable and if you don't like discomfort, 9 to 5 is always there, that kind of thing, right? Speaking about moving out of 9 to 5, it's not easy. I mean, a lot of people, I came from there too, the starting off was hard. How do you overcome this uncertainty and, become, like that period of time, how do you navigate that from when you were starting off to actually making money? Like,
I think it's understanding that no matter your fears and no matter this uncertainty that is about to happen, time pass. So if you're gonna stay in the 9 to 5, you can know for certain, well, not like 100% certain, there's still chances of you getting fired, just saying. But you can know how your trajectory is going to be over the next 10 years. 5% increment, maybe 20%, I don't know. And you kind of feel secure in that area. The question you would ask yourself is, are you happy with that result over the next 10 years? If not, you're gonna have to do some changes. And though it may be scary, you've actually identified at least that that's not the 10 years trajectory that you would want. So you kind of build your own path. I think that a lot of people are afraid or they lack courage to take risk or to do like any form of changes that is unconventional because of, they don't know what's yet to come.
Yeah. Do it
Right.
scared, right?
Yeah, I think the short answer to that is do it scared. Especially if you are in your 20s, this is like your prime years for you to experiment. Like, spoiler alert, you're not supposed to have your shit figured out.
Yeah.
And once you do little by little, yeah, you fail, yeah, you fall.
You figure
get
shit out eventually.
Yeah, you figure shit out eventually. Or maybe not, that's okay. That's okay.
We still don't have our shit figured out.
Exactly. But what we do figure out is that we kind of learn more about ourselves. We know what does not work for us better.
I think to put it this way, we don't know what we want yet or what our life is going to be, but we know what we don't want.
Exactly, yes.
Because we have tried, this is not something we want to go back to, hence we go a different direction.
Yes. And also your actions compound.
That's very
Right.
true.
You try new things, you be experimental with things. You're saying that you try 100 things and nothing sticks. That's bullshit, right?
I mean, that's on you.
Yeah, that's something's going on there. Yeah, so
But what was like your breakthrough moment that you say, hey, this thing actually works. This self-employed, my own business thing works. Was there like a day you woke up, oh,
I guess it's when I started hitting 5 digits, which is like, I don't know, 3 times my 9 to 5. And I would have friends, because like when you're fresh, like startup business, it fluctuates, right?
Yeah, it does.
There are months where you make a lot, there are months where you make little. So I came to a point where I was making like 50 grand a month. But then the next month I'd be like, I don't know.
yeah, it
Yeah.
happens, yeah.
And then like my friends would say, that's not stable. I'm like,
I earned more than you in a year.
okay, that's not stable, but that 50 grand have already covered me for a year of 9 to 5.
Correct. I think once you hit, okay, so they always say, oh, it's very hard to hit 5 figures. But once you hit 5 figures, it's like, hey,
Yeah,
it's not that
it's not
hard.
that hard.
It's-
Exactly.
Let me break it down for you how easy it is. Okay, not saying she is Web3 and she does international clients. I do local clients. You literally need to have 5 clients, 4 to 5 clients that pay you 2.5 to 3.
Yeah.
And that's all you need. You hit 10K like that.
Yeah.
And it's not very hard to do. I tell you, at your 9 to 5 job, you do more work
Exactly.
than
Yes.
whatever we're doing right now.
Yes, because your 9 to 5 are mainly based on your hourly input.
Correct.
They paid you based on hours. But here you get to clock in your own hours. You decide how much you want to work, and you decide how much your hours are worth.
You get paid based on your value
Exactly.
that you provide.
Yes.
Okay. So I think one more thing is, just to wrap this whole education part and working part out, is I would say that you don't have this, for people who don't have this proper certification, how do we go about telling others, that pitching yourself to others, that make yourself sound credible? Let's say I'm working in a 9 to 5 job,
Okay.
and I want to switch out now.
Okay.
What is one the things that I can actually look into to boost my chance of getting a better job or even coming on my own?
It's how you carry yourself, right? You just have to beat 90% of people who are, your average 9 to 5 goers. I would say add value. Find way to add value in your application. If that's writing the cover letter, which 50% of people when they see write a cover letter, they don't even apply, right? Is be it writing a
Yeah.
cover letter, doing a portfolio, offering free value-adding jobs, maybe do for them a marketing strategy, write them a free content, all these things where you can do it on your own without any capital.
Actually, before we take a break, the part we're doing it for free, a lot of people say don't do it. But I agree with you. For me also, how I got a lot of my clients is the first month I said, I'll do anything for free.
Yes.
I'll show you that I can do it. If you think I'm worth the money that I'm offering you, the investment I call it, then you're going to pay me. So during that month, I proved that I can deliver.
Yes.
And that is one way easily you can get your foot into any door, I feel.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, no hate on like doing things for free, especially when you're just like starting
Still
out.
starting out,
Like
right.
I was like from customer service, like how the hell am I gonna pitch myself with 10 years of marketing experience? No, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna do social media and gonna make you like a bunch of reels for free.
I'm
Oh,
going to show you what I can do for you, what
Exactly.
value I can bring.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. We'll take a short break. We'll be back. Okay, and we're back. So the last part where we left off, we were talking about how she came out of a 9 to 5 and everything, starting up a business. Let's talk about something lighter. I think this is actually something I'm more interested in. Is I travel a lot. I travel locally and Southeast Asia a lot. She travels Europe and this kind of interesting places more. What's the most interesting place you've traveled actually?
Well, interesting is subjective, but
For you.
I can't choose between Japan and Italy. They both have like different vibes and I love them both. Japan is somewhere I would see myself retiring, to be honest. And Italy would be like a nice vacation home.
She has a villa overlooking the sea.
Yes.
Eating
exactly.
a gelato with a coffee,
Yes,
that
I
kind of
love
life,
that,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, Japan, that's an interesting
Yeah.
choice because I think a lot of people are getting out of Japan.
Yeah, because of their economy and like the natural disasters, right? But I would honestly love to stay in like a countryside in Japan and have like a more quiet life. Maybe go fishing. Yeah, for fresh fish.
Earthquake, just
Yeah.
another Tuesday.
Yeah, but I love Japan. Everyone is so polite there. The culture is so different. They're very respectful. It's very refreshing.
It's a very beautiful place.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It's
okay,
very beautiful.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, you're also a digital nomad, so that's actually what I want to touch on.
Okay.
I struggle. So I didn't travel to Europe and other places because I was really scared I couldn't like get my work done and everything.
Oh,
Because
okay.
even in Southeast Asia, I travel local. Getting work done, let's say find a place with fast Wi-Fi, even a nice place to work, sometimes it's a pain. And then you're moving around often. It's very stressful. How
Okay.
how do you even get it done?
I work 2 hours a day. So I just spend lunchtime in a cafe and work 2 hours a day. And I think something that I'm trying to transition to is working on my phone. So I don't have to like carry my laptop around because most of my work are like SOCMED sort of work. So I have the socials on my phone and I can work on the go. In terms of calls, I try to limit calls with my clients. I don't really want to take calls. Anything that can be discussed over email shouldn't be on call. Yeah, so that's the sort of dynamic that I set.
Okay, you do social media, but you don't do you do the content part, like say videos and stuff?
No, it's mainly text, so it's like
Mainly
more like
text.
copywriting.
Okay,
yeah.
I understand now.
Yeah.
For me, I do a lot of video. As you can see, I do a lot of videos. So uploading and everything, it's a pain.
Yes.
Especially when you're like a cafe and the speed is just like, you gotta wait, let's say processing, uploading 2 hours.
So there was like a hurdle that we went through in the south of France. So our purpose of like going traveling is because we wanted to meet people. So we were like, let's stay in a shared space, right? You save money, you meet people. It wasn't a hostel. It was like an Airbnb, but with a shared space. Well, we hated our housemates. It was just very noisy. It wasn't like a working, conducive environment. So we spent, I think, about 3,000 ringgit on a working space for a month. Which when we calculated, so for transparency, our Airbnb was, I think, $1,002. So that's like 6,000 or 7,000 ringgit a month. And we spent 3,000 ringgit.
Additional on the
Yeah,
workspace.
so total 10,000 ringgit. With that a month, we could have get a private space to ourselves. So that's like a really, really learning curve for us, is that spend more on your accommodation for the environment that you want.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we fork out 1.5K each for the working space. We only went to the working space 2 times. So
It averages out to about 1.5 every time you go.
yes, exactly. So it was not worth. Yeah. So, but in terms of Wi-Fi in Europe, I never had any problem. I even like I edited like 5-hour footage for my YouTube, and I've uploaded like 20 minutes videos. I think quite reasonably large files, which went like very smoothly. The only place where we had internet problem was in Perth, Australia. So it's more of like the western countryside with a bunch of scary bugs. But yeah, that's the only place where we had problem. But luckily, we only stayed there for like 5 days. But there's also ways to get around it. You can buy portable Wi-Fi, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to emphasize on what she said. Yes, don't skim on accommodation. I was in Bali and I was actually considering getting a shared space, co-working, that kind of thing. But I opted for a private room the whole trip, and that was the best decision.
Yes.
I come back, I get my sleep, I get to
Yes.
do my work in peace. Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you're a digital nomad, that's something to keep in mind.
Exactly. I actually so the place that we are at, there's a lot of like digital nomads here. So I bump into one of them. He's from Germany, and he asked me for like a co-working space because the accommodation that he got wasn't like, really good for working. So really, if you just top up the extra 1K,
It's worth it.
It's worth it,
It's
yes.
worth the peace of mind.
It's worth the peace of mind. It's worth the Wi-Fi connection. Yes.
I mean, one more thing, social media is, everyone who is digital nomad, their life is, very glam. We're traveling here and there. We're at the beach. That kind of thing. Is it actually like that? I know the answer to that, but
I would say yes and no. Yes and no. Because like all those beautiful sunsets, all those beach trips and like hanging out and drinking and all, they happen. They did happen. But the other stuff happened too. A lot of the times we were kind of homeless from like, the 3 p.m. check-in for Airbnb, which really sucks. We would stay, so like our train example arrives in Italy at 9 a.m. Our check-in time is 3 p.m.
where do you go?
We were in a cafe with our 20 kg luggage for around 6 hours. And they were nice enough to just let us order like, like a coffee and like some croissant. But some cafes, they actually like...
You got a minimum spend, right?
No, not really minimum spend, but like after 2 hours, they'd be like clearing up your stuff and be like kind of
Sweeps
hinting
your
like,
feet,
yeah,
get
it's
out.
kind of time for you to go.
Okay.
Yeah. Other than that is, of course, I got pickpocketed.
Where?
In the south of France. I lost like my wallet with all my cards.
Oh.
So I'm like, damn lucky I bought like a hefty amount of cash. If not, I wouldn't be able to survive. And the thing is, when you're in the south of France, I made a call to like local Malaysian banks, and 9 p.m. there is like 3 hours here.
Yeah.
So it was really hard to cancel my card, and like like a foreign number calling local number is just a whole thing. But I did manage to cancel my card after 2 hours being on the phone. And luckily nothing got deducted. And I was honestly convinced that within that 2 hours, because like pickpocketers in Europe is different. Like I have heard so many horror stories from people that I've met where, when they stole their phone or they stole their card, they know how to hack into your bank account details. Like I know like a girl who lost like $10,000 because her phone got stolen. So security is like really important, like the RFID shit and all those stuff is important. But yeah, nothing got deducted. And at that point I was like, fuck, whatever's in my bank is gone, right? I was so certain. But I was like, okay,
If it happens, it happens.
Yeah, it happens. Like I'm like at a nice fucking beach. Like if the money's gone, it's gone. Like
It's
let me
okay, I'ma
just
stay
enjoy.
here.
Yeah, what am I gonna do? Cry, stress about it? It's like there's nothing I can do.
Do you have any tips of how do you travel now? Do you still bring out your cards, or is there one or two cards that you just carry?
Yeah, so I up my privacy. I only bring like credit cards because credit cards you can file for.
Fraud and
Yes,
like,
exactly. I don't bring my debit cards, and all of my debit cards that I keep in a secret place. I'm not disclosing.
It's okay. Just,
I set like a limit towards it. I was so dumb because I did not set a limit when I travel, so I set like the bare minimum limit, and now I travel using the Wise card,
yeah, see.
which you can basically use for all currencies. And the Wise card has a feature where you can keep a jar. So a jar is kind of like fixed deposit. You kind of like locked it up there. So no matter where you tap, the money can't come out. You have to manually take it out from the app.
Oh, okay.
So
I'm
that's
check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And that's also good for budgeting. So I keep like a jar for Romania, a jar for Australia, so it comes out of that pool of money. Yeah.
Hey, I learn new things every day. I didn't even know that was a feature on the app.
Yeah, it's like really good because if you bring your Wise card, an example, you have like 10,000 in there, they could like tap it unlimited, right?
Oh, yeah,
Unless you set like the whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can put it in a jar, and no matter what they do, yeah, they can't tap it.
Speaking about money, right? This
Yes.
is one of the things she shares a lot on her social medias, and I want to just tap onto what's your concept of money. What is money to you?
Okay. Money to me is freedom. Full stop. I'm not like obsessed, or I don't like love money. I love the freedom that it gives me, and also a little bit of the power. I'm not gonna lie. So I grew up very poor. I would consider that I grew up very poor, where we struggle to like have food on the table, and to me, money could buy me that food, that I want, or that toy that I wanted as a kid. When I say freedom, it means freedom of time. You don't have to go to work. Freedom of location. You don't have to be in a certain place, and freedom to do whatever you want. Basically, yeah. That's money to me.
I truly believe this. I don't know who said to me, if a problem can be solved by money, it's not a problem.
Exactly. Yes.
So find out ways to get money to free up your time.
Yeah.
To do every other thing. But so concept. That's your concept, but what's your concept of managing money? I think this is not something that's taught to us, and that's one question that comes up a lot on your stories, actually. So
yes, I don't think this session can cover all of it.
Briefly, do you have like a system or anything that you go to?
Yeah, so I think it's just two things: live below your means and make more money. Like I think I mentioned before that people always focus on cutting, right? Cutting costs. And sometimes they even cut like, I don't know, your 5 ringgit daily coffee or 20 ringgit daily coffee. Like that's great. That's a good effort. But you want to take a step back and look at what's eating up the huge sum of your expenses. If you cut 20 ringgit coffee a day, but you still spend 3,000 ringgit on, I don't know, luxury shopping, that's like no point, right? That's like go math. Yeah. It's like go math.
I saved on coffee. Now I can buy a Birkin,
Yeah. Yeah, that's like go math. Yeah, so step one, which I think is very important, and shockingly statistics say more than 50% don't do, is that track your expenses. If you don't know where your money is going out, you don't know which area to fix.
Yeah.
So you got to track your expenses. That's number one. And number two is, if you want to save more money, then cut out the huge expenses. And that's very hard to do because it comes with a lot of pride with people. When you can afford 4,000 ringgit apartment in KL, it kind of takes a hit on the ego when you want to. Yeah, when you gotta downgrade, right? But nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
Right? They're just gonna talk for a day or two, right?
People
And
have
that's
a
it.
lot of things to do.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, downgrade, your huge expenses. That could be rent, that could be eating out. Like personally, I'm learning how to cook right now.
How's that going?
Terrible. I cooked
I'm on
my
the same
boyfriend a
boat.
raw salmon.
Oh,
Yeah. So yeah, but I'm learning how to cook. That's effort.
it's the same.
That counts.
my girlfriend's at work, and then I'll be like, I'll cook dinner. I'll be like, I take out the ingredients, how do I even do this? Then I start texting her, and she's like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah. I think-
Yeah.
No, I mean, I personally, I don't budget. I don't have a budget.
Okay.
So that's interesting, but I track every single penny.
Oh, okay.
And I agree with you, tracking expenses help. But contrary to a lot of people, I don't have a budget.
Oh, okay.
I spend on things I deem I need to spend. So if I'm going to here, I'm going to eat. If, let's say it's just a lunch and I'm not meeting anyone, I can have chicken rice, like $7. It's fine. I just need to fill my tummy. So what are you using the money for? Let's say I go out with lunch with you. We want to build this relationship. We want to talk about things. Then we'll go to a nicer cafe. After ambience, then I'll definitely pay more. That's how I view money. And why I track every month, every penny is at the end of the month, I will review. So that's very important for me. And I will say, hey, this month I probably spent too much on going out. Let's see how we can do less. Because I feel budget is very restrictive. And sometimes you actually do have to spend the money, and budget restricts you from doing that.
Okay, I understand. I have a budget, but I don't think it's like the traditional budget of like 50, 30, 20 sort of thing. I'm more of, I use up 20% of my income. Where it goes, I don't care. At least I got the 80% for me, which I don't think it's smart advice, but I think when it comes to a point, for example, like if you're making 3K a month and you take out 3K, that's like you're breaking even and you have no savings. But if you make 30K and you take out 3K, that's like what, 10%? It doesn't mean anything. So my concept is that I use up about 20% of my income for expenses.
Wow, that means the 80 is towards investments, or what's the 80 towards? That's a very big chunk.
Yeah. But it fluctuates. So it fluctuates. So on some month I'm broke, on some months mainly towards investments and like my emergency fund. So I just finished like my emergency fund, like I think last year. So like last mid-year, I think, and then after that it's all.
I said 30% for myself, and I thought that was a lot.
Oh, okay.
Just said like.
Oh, I don't think that's a lot. I mean, it depends on which country I'm at. 30% in KL, definitely. Maybe in overseas, 50%. Yeah, that's like double.
Right. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, one more thing about money. Do you pay yourself a fixed amount every month, or do you actually just take it as and when you like, this month I earn more, I'm take more this month?
So I have, how do I explain this? Whatever that needs to go through my business banking, I logged it as paying myself, because that's for accounting and taxing purposes. It's kind of like not really legal if I just take it out like that for a Cinderella hut. So I'm legal, okay? Whatever that goes through like my business banking, I log it as paying myself. But other than that, like if example like some freelance extra money that doesn't go through that, where they're paying me, Natalie, that I can just take it as it goes.
Oh, okay. So from your business side, there is a fixed amount that you get.
Yes, there is a fixed amount.
Okay, cool. Okay, speaking that's pretty. Actually, personal finance is one topic we can go on and on and on and on.
Yes.
Just for these purposes, we can do another part on that some other day. But one more thing I want to cover is actually your business. So actually, I wrote down here. The hardest part of our business is actually getting the clients.
Okay.
Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Follow up. What tips or how do you go about doing that? Personally, for me, I go by referral model.
Okay.
I don't take any cold leads. If you want to work with me, you have to go through someone that knows me, that recommends. How about you?
No, we're not heavy on referral. I think it's just the branding aspect of things that I do. So we put out like content, and I'm not doing much sales job right now because I'm happy with the pool of clients that I have, and they're more sustainable in the long run. Instead of like the clients, like, a bunch of clients coming to me and I'm like, hey, come on, I sort of pick and choose like which clients I want to work with. And in terms of poaching the clients to work with me. That's just, what sort of sales program that you have going on. It could be a referral for your sake. For me, it's really just, if you want to work with me, you work with me.
Lie. I'm not allergic to money.
Yeah.
Because for me, I don't like the vetting part.
Oh, okay.
So I rather let other people vet for me. They refer people. I make sure that I say, hey, do they have a good payment history? Are they good to work with? What's their working style? And then I vet from there.
Okay.
So that helps me because for me, why, like you said, why we do this is because we want the freedom. And then that's the freedom. And I want to like my job. So I want to work with people I like. I don't want to be worried about when am I going to get my money. And that's why I go with the referral. So do you have the kind of issues when you say you get with cold leads kind of thing?
I definitely have some bad experiences. I kind of learned to filter it from my pricing. I tend to realize like the clients who are only going for the affordable offers are more nitpicky with your work.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah, which is understandable because, coming from a small business, I'm also nitpicky with who I hire. Mainly because that's like the funds, like that funds means more to you than a client who can afford more, right? So that's how I vet it. I don't really vet it through going through all this research and all those stuff. I vet it through pricing. And usually, for example, it's like, okay, you have to like pay an upfront payment. Or this is a 3 months sort of
engagement
program. Yes, exactly. So
right, let's just put it, I think this is at our level where we have done for a couple of years and we can say like that, but let's say for someone who's just starting out, let's say if today you don't have anything, you don't have no clients, how would you go about to get your first client?
I got my first client posting on a Facebook community saying, hey, I can do TikTok videos for 50 ringgit. And and I got my first client through that. I have also done some volunteer works, which I don't really count as client, I just count that as building my portfolio. So offer cheap.
Put yourself
services,
out there, offer cheap services, and most importantly, build your portfolio.
Yeah, build your portfolio.
I think that's what shows your credibility after.
Exactly.
So I think after a while, like, do you have, quick question, do you have a CV now? Do you have like a resume? Because I don't.
I don't. Yeah,
right.
I don't. Yeah.
So after a certain point, that's not.
Yeah, I don't. I just have like a portfolio with a bunch of metrics that
Yeah, like these are things I've done.
Yeah, these are things that I've done. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, interesting. Okay, last question. Work-life balance. I would say, when people ask me, I would say we don't have that. Work and life is integrated. But I think for you, you say you work 2 hours.
Yes.
I don't. I work throughout the day because I like I can't sit and not do work. So maybe that's different from me. I like doing this kind of things. What about you? How do you achieve this 2 hours work week?
I think it's just the seasons in life. When I started out, I was working 17 hours a day.
Ooh.
And those hours that I worked to get better at my craft, to get, to upskill myself, it compounded to where I am now. When I was traveling, I was working 8 hours a day. But I was making peak revenue. Like there was a lot of money coming in. And then until one day, I was sitting at a bench with a beautiful beach in the south of France, and I was attending a fucking meeting. And then that's when I go, fuck this shit. I was like, fuck this shit, yeah. And on that day itself, I fired 80% of my clients. I was still making good money. And the next day I just worked 2 hours. And it was good.
Do you, okay, for me, I feel like when I'm not working, I'm not doing things like, I didn't have to do this podcast, but I was like, let's just do something. I can't like not. So I started this podcast, and definitely there's more work for me. But that's at least for me. I think you are someone who also is a go-getter. How do you like push down that urge to do things?
So last year, not last year. 2022 was the year where I went 100% working the whole time. Weekends, whatever holidays, Christmas, I was working. But I realized that there's more to life than work. I want to emphasize that I like my job. Like, I really like the things that I do. But I think I never explored other areas in my life, like making friends and traveling. And once I started traveling, I realized that there's more to life than working. I wouldn't say right now I'm pushing down the urge. Right now I'm like, okay, how can this project fund my next travel?
You're filling it with something else.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So your work, I think like what Ali Abdal said, like a perfect job is something that funds your purpose, money, time, right? And status. These four things. And you pick what's important to you. For me, I don't really care for whatever role or status that I am at. I don't care if I'm a manager or I'm a janitor. Like, that's just a name for it. And what I care is the time aspect of things and what the money can buy me. Yeah. So it's not more so I have to do something. It's more of what does this thing bring to me?
Okay, so we're going to end with some of the questions that actually your followers actually put up in your stories. And the first one is, can you explain your goals to be a silent millionaire? What's your plan? There will be signs. There will be signs.
Yeah. No, actually, like I put out like a post in my story. This is actually before the trend, where there was a malfunction in one of my finance app. So it kind of says that I have like $1 million.
Oh yeah, the crypto. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And people actually thought that was true. So I was like, guys, it's a joke. But if I were, y'all wouldn't even know.
What if it wasn't,
Yeah, like y'all wouldn't even know. I think the concept is always that when I am a millionaire and, multi-millionaire, I would still be the same. I would wear the same clothes. I would stay at the same places. Like, yeah, those money would be going to fund other things, mainly experiences and other stuff that do good in the world.
Yeah, besides, she will be, at some weirdest place, 2 months in the south of France. You won't be able to find me.
Yeah. My plan, I think it's just the formula that I say, which is keep your expenses minimum, make more money, and invest them. Having multiple streams of income. It's so important because having one stream of income, which is like job, is not enough to cover you for, recessions and all those stuff. Currently, I have 3 streams of income and actually 4 streams of income, including investments. And I'm aiming to multiply that over the coming years. For me to retire comfortably in Malaysia, I would need $1 million. So according to
$1 million US dollars.
Yes, $1 million US dollars. So that would be about 4 million. 5 million ringgit. The concept that I follow is FIRE, financial retirement.
Independence,
retire.
retire.
Financial independence, retire early. Yeah. So that's you guys can look it up. There's lean FIRE, there's fat FIRE, there's the normal FIRE.
We don't body shame FIRE here.
Yeah, and I think my lifestyle that I have now is normal if I'm living in like KL. Yeah, so that's my goal. So far, it's on track.
If you don't mind me just asking, you said you have 3 streams of income, excluding investments.
Yes.
What's the 3 streams of income?
Okay, 3 streams of incomes excluding investments. So one is the agency that I have. Second is I actually have another agency with my partner that we are currently doing.
Okay.
And third is mainly online content stuff. Like I do UGC videos. Yeah. So that's sort of, yeah.
Okay. Okay, next question. How much is need to travel English? How much is needed? How much is need to travel full time?
I actually did a video on this. We've traveled like consecutively 5 months, and then we missed Malaysia. But yeah, we traveled for 5 months in Europe. So we went to the south of France, Italy, Romania, and Hungary, and also Australia. So for 5 months in total. Both of us combined, we spent 160,000 ringgit. So what? I don't know. You divide that by 5. How much is that?
About 30K a month.
Yeah, about 30K a month.
Bit more.
yeah, divided by 2% because we split like
16K.
Yes, about 16K a month for 2 people. It is, I mean, it depends on your style of traveling. For me, it is cheaper because we stay in a place longer. So you kind of offset the flights, and you kind of offset the in between states traveling, in between cities, because we stay in one place for a long time. Yeah.
Okay. Is that all you want to answer for that?
Yeah.
Okay. Last one. What's your dream destination?
My dream destination is New York,
Ah.
which I am going this December.
Have you been to New York? No?
No, I've never been to the US. So
You did mention you did want to do an RV. Is it New York part of the...
Yes, so my plans of traveling for this year would be 3 months van life in Europe and 3 months van life in the US, where we will spend about a month in New York to actually fully experience New York life.
So after you hit New York, your dream destination by this year, what's
Yeah.
next?
I don't know, man.
Balik Malaysia, Twin Towers sini.
Yeah, but my
Right.
dream destination is New York, mainly because like I feel like New York is a place for go-getters, where people go there with their dreams.
Concrete jungle where dreams are made.
Yeah, but they do get crushed, unfortunately, because of the expense there.
It's
But
not
yeah.
easy. It's not easy.
Yeah. I aim to have like my own place in New York by
Manhattan.
25. Yeah, in Manhattan.
Ah,
So let's
she's that
see.
gal.
Yeah, if it happens, I'm gonna stitch this video. Gonna see.
There will be signs.
Yeah.
Just overlooking New York. It's just like every morning.
Yeah.
Story. Okay, last questions. Is there any advice for any of like young professionals or even people who are in their job looking to move out or even starting an agency? Let's just aim at these people. What advice can you give them?
Do it scared.
Do it scared.
The difference between you and the other person who seems more successful is not because they are more knowledgeable or they have, access maybe, but majority of them, I mean, me personally, don't. The difference is that they have more courage. They have more courage to learn. They have more courage to make those connections happen. They have more courage to close
Take
things.
action.
Yeah.
Just you want to do
Just
something,
do it.
go it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Because being afraid won't change your situation. That's just the hard truth, and nobody's gonna save you. You're gonna have to save yourself, yeah, from whatever situation. Yeah.
Okay, is there anything you want to share? You want to plug before we close?
Yes, follow my YouTube channel. All you fake people who watch my YouTube but never subscribe, I have the analytics down. It's like more than 80% are not subscribed. So yeah.
Yeah, subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'll put all the links down below. Till the next time, I think we're gonna have a follow-up when you're back from your RV.
Yes.
When would that be next year? All right,
Yes.
so looking forward to see you again.
Okay.
Till next time, thank you so much.
Bye.
Ciao.